The Raptors snapped their losing streak against Pascal Siakam's Indiana Pacers. Jakob Poeltl and RJ Barrett dominate again. Let's go to the film room. Jakob Poeltl's importance to this team as a screener and rim runner cannot be overstated. First play of the game, they run a veer action for Jakob to get downhill. Beautiful pass by RJ to set him up. Jakob has a career high in usage this season, and admittedly a lot of that is because of the injuries, but the Raptors offense also predicates that he is the guy as their high post hub. You see it here, they get it to him in that high post area. They run a dribble handoff for him into a pin down, looking for Grady. Nothing. He can go into a pick and roll, empty side pick and roll with Jamal Shead. And his presence doesn't allow Obi Toppin to get to Shead. Shead gets the easy floater, making life easier for your teammates. That is what Jakob Poeltl does on a night-to-night basis for the Raptors. Same thing here, pseudo transition. Watch as he seals off Jarris Walker, gets Shead the layup. He's leading the league in offensive rebounds going into tonight's game, and he cleaned up a lot tonight as well. But again, I want to harp on how important he is to the Raptors offense. They run him into a pick and roll, nothing. Then he's that high post hub, goes into a dribble handoff with Grady, nothing. He's available for the pass, has the great feel to be able to finish inside as well. Same idea here. His presence in the post doesn't allow Pascal Siakam to help, and so now RJ has that one-on-one opportunity driving inside. And this is exactly why they love Jakob as their high post playmaker. Great feel. Raptors run a split action. He finds RJ, who gets fouled, goes to the free throw line. Shout out to RJ, by the way, made his free throws tonight. I've talked to you guys before about the connection with Davion Mitchell in the pick and roll. It's very similar because Jakob makes life easier on guys by being such a great rim runner, such a great sealer, such a great screener. Same thing applies here. Jakob's threat in that short roll area allows RJ to go one-on-one, goes reverse against Pascal Siakam. RJ, by the way, did an incredible job all night of utilizing the gravity of Jakob and kind of allowing him to roam inside the space and taking advantage of it by going one-on-one against the Pacers' lackluster defense. And again, that awesome connection between RJ and Jakob in the pick and roll, it's become seamless at this point. Nice little bounce pass in traffic to Jakob. And this is the beauty of Jakob. Doesn't get enough credit for this. Look how he seals off the big and then allows Davion Mitchell to attack around. That is the impact that doesn't come on the box score. It doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but it also makes your teammates love playing with you. And the reason he's so deadly, especially over the last few games in this short mid-range area, is because he's cooking like this. More of that high post hub. Raptors run a delay action with him. He can oversee the options, flows into a dribble handoff with Grady Dick. Great pass by Grady, and he ends up with the dunk. And Darko Rajakovic had a quote post-game talking about how he's empowering Jakob to be more of a rim runner and dunk the basketball. Jakob not the guy who usually is jumping out the gym, but I think he's empowering him to dunk the ball more on these finishes and go harder to the basket. And we're seeing that so far this season. And so I know it's been kind of one note over the last couple of videos with how much I've talked about Jakob. Truthfully, I understand that because the first one was how important he is to development. The last one was about RJ and their chemistry, and this one is sort of a blend of both. I just want to mention it because I've seen a lot of conversations about how the Raptors should trade Jakob Poeltl, and I kind of gave it the benefit of the doubt. Last night, I went on Trade Machine, and I was like, okay, man, so if everybody wants the Raptors to take advantage of how well Jakob Poeltl is playing, sell high as you will, where could he possibly go? Suns are second apron, they can't do it. The Bucks are second apron, they can't do it. The Lakers are in a situation where they could, but will they be willing to come off of picks or maybe a first-round pick, especially a late first-round pick, 2031, in order to get a center? I doubt they would, to be honest with you. I don't think the Lakers would do that. The New Orleans Pelicans, decimated by injuries. Are they going to go ahead and trade a pick at this point in time, knowing the situation with Zion Williamson and whatnot? That's the only team where I could say, okay, maybe if they get healthy and they start to make a run and they feel confident in themselves and they want to add to their depth, yeah, sure. But at the same time, do you know what the Toronto Raptors would ask for? They'd ask for Yves Missi, who has been really, really good, and I think the Pelicans would balk at that idea. I don't think they would welcome that idea whatsoever. The Milwaukee Bucks, also second apron, can't trade for him. So you go through the options, and they're pretty slim for who can trade for Jakob and who would want to trade for Jakob Poeltl. And so that's why I think that ultimately the Raptors are going to hold on to him, at least for this season. Because one, they don't have someone who can developmentally fuel this Raptors team, both with his screening, his rim running, his ceiling, his finishing ability. He just makes other guys look better. Truthfully, he just makes other guys look better. And I think that's really important to have on a team that's learning how to win because, one, you want to instill confidence in guys to be able to do the right things on the floor, right? To compete on the defensive end. They're getting baskets on the other side. Okay, RJ's going to start competing on the defensive end. He's going to start trying more often. There is a world in which the amount of help that Jakob provides on the offensive end is actually helping fuel their defense. Now, that being said, the Raptors are still much a work in progress when it comes to the defensive end. And admittedly, the Indiana Pacers tonight had tons of injuries. No Miles Turner, missing Aaron Nesmith, Andrew Nembhard, just tons of injuries themselves, dealing with what they have to do. And the Pacers have struggled so far this season. I have not enjoyed the way the Pacers have looked. You can listen to Caitlin Cooper and Samson Folk. They are the ones who cover the Indiana Pacers. We're talking about the Raptors here. Admittedly, not the team that you're like taking something of note from this game. But when you are a team that is 2-12, you take your wins when you can get them. And I think the Raptors had a really important opportunity in that second half when you know the cards were kind of down and the Pacers were making a run, and it just felt like, oh man, here it goes again. RJ Barrett stepped in the fourth quarter and just calmed things down. Mentioned how important Jakob is to freeing up RJ. Here he is, gets the switch. Now one-on-one with Obi Toppin. Nice fadeaway jump shot. Once again, gets the switch for Obi Toppin. Here he is, settles into a mid-range jump shot. Love this play here. Spain leak is what they're running. Shout out to Samson Folk, and a nice Euro step for RJ for the finish. Again, pick and roll with Jakob and RJ here. This time he goes straight downhill. Nice floater. And I actually think some of the touch stuff, RJ's touch looked great in this game. And yes, admittedly, the Pacers defense wasn't the best. But RJ's touch looked great in this game. Why? Because I think hitting his three-point shots, especially early in the game, got him into a rhythm. He hit, I believe it was like 4 of 7 to start the game. And I think part of that was like, I feel good. My shot is flowing. I can settle into these mid-range jump shots later down the road. I can take my guy one-on-one. I feel confident in my ability. And I mentioned this like 2 seconds ago, how Jakob Poeltl allows other guys to feel confident in their game, allows them to get going. And that was huge for RJ Barrett tonight. Truthfully, massive for RJ Barrett tonight. And look, man, like it's good to get a win. I think it's really, really important for this team. I mentioned it in the Boston recap as well. Like, yes, fun losses are great and being competitive is fun, but inevitably you got to win a couple games. They can't lose them all. I understand the tanking argument. They can't lose them all. That would be bad. And so they win this game. They're 3-12. This win will not impact their tanking whatsoever. By the way, shout out to Garrett Temple. Big shout out to Garrett Temple, who in that second quarter ignited a run, was massive, getting steals, playing good defense, getting out in transition, made a 3, had a couple of nice assists in transition as well. Shout out to him. Always staying ready, always professional. That's my Union rep right there. Shout out to Blake Murphy for that. And yeah, so the Raptors win the game. Jakob Poeltl, incredible. RJ Barrett, incredible. And I think, I mentioned this against Boston, but I think Scotty Barnes is close. We're probably going to get an update in a couple days. We might get an update on Bruce Brown eventually. We might get an update on Kelly Olynyk. And look, all of a sudden, this team is getting closer to healthy, and we can finally see them almost at full strength. Almost at full strength. And that is something that you, a Raptors fan, should look forward to. So thank you very much for listening to this little recap. We've got the Minnesota Timberwolves on Thursday. They're going to be showing off their new court, the Raptors. I'm pretty excited for that. I will be at the game, so the recap will be a little bit late, but nonetheless, thank you so much for tapping in. Subscribe, like, do the things that you guys usually do so that we can get this video out to more people, folks. Thank you very much. Peace out.